I'd like to talk to you about my choice for the A4 assignment, the internship program at my company, iRobot. A little bit of background about this program. The reason why I chose this is because it's something that's really important to me. It was actually, the internship program was really what gave me my start at iRobot, and I do think that it's a really powerful tool for us to bring on new employees. It allows us to train young professionals. It allows us to really do that extended interview almost and vet out the candidates that are going to be excellent additions to our company. Some of the challenges with this program right now, and this is really kind of the focus of my analysis going forward, is that there seems to be a mentality shift in how we use our interns and in how we assign them work and what that work looks like. The intern utilization and workload has kind of decreased over the past few years because we've started to replace the interns with technicians. And this is something that's being done across all different facets of our engineering organization, where areas that we might have used an intern before, we're now replacing them with a technician. This has really had an interesting effect in that now the interns seem like they are maybe less engaged or more, I call it bored here, but basically that they really don't seem to enjoy the work that they're doing. So what I want to study is really, what's the deeper cause behind this situation that's happening. I've taken a chance to kind of think through some of the traditional thinking perspectives, and really, one of the ones that really comes to mind is that kids these days are different than they used to be, right? Millennials have this attitude of being lazy, and this is what's driving this behavior. They don't really want to work on our stuff for the company. They really want to work on their own projects, and we're just in the way, or we're just assigning them work that they really think is boring, and that's why they're disengaged. So again, this is my major traditional thinking perspective on these interns and the behavior that we can observe right now. If we then take that a step further and we look at the traditional thinking solutions, we're actually seeing this reactive behavior happen right now, where people are starting to get fed up with the interns. Maybe they're unhappy with their behavior or their attitude or their engagement, and they've just said, you know what, we have these professionals, these technicians that we can hire. They're going to be long-term professionals for us, and they're really going to give us the same output that the interns have. In a lot of ways, I feel that this is an excellent shift, because it does give us consistency, whereas we would have interns turning over on a regular basis. These technicians are going to stay in these roles, and they're going to make a career of these roles, and that's really excellent. The downside to this mentality, and the reason why I want to do this analysis, is because coming from the internship program, this is really an important way to grow those young professionals within your organization. It's really challenging to grow your organization without having the ability to recruit kids right out of college. And without a strong internship program, that's the feeder program for your young engineers in your organization. A lot of companies hire out of their internship program, and I think it's something that gives us an advantage over some of our technical competitors. So again, this is the reason why I want to further study the internship program, because it is so valuable to what we do in the engineering organization. So summarizing, kind of my intro slides and everything, what is the core problem? What is the thing that we really want to talk about? If we look at the internship workload, obviously, we pointed out that it's decreasing, but it seems to be decreasing, for some other factors just beyond the fact that the interns themselves are causing it to decrease. Again, we talk about, the intern attitude is directly related to the workload that they're going to get, and so taking this to a more systems approach, what is the actual, what can we actually find out? So I've taken the opportunity to make the system stock diagram, and I really want to talk you through some of the things that I've found in making this diagram that I find really interesting. There are 3 stocks that I chose to study the relationships between, and I think they're all very interconnected, and I think they kind of shine some light on really what is the problem that's happening with the internship program. So the central stock that I want to talk about is the intern workload. This is basically controlled just by the input of request work into the interns and work that would be completed or finished by the interns. So the amount of work that the interns have to do is just requests minus things that they had completed. This stock is kind of the central one here because it talks about what are the interns doing day to day. It's interesting to think about the work that the interns completed, because this work doesn't just directly go up to someone in the higher management teams. It's actually going to be reviewed by an engineer, probably reprocessed, maybe analyzed at another level, and then presented. When you think about this work, you're going to think about that the engineers need to build some confidence with the interns that they're working with, and that confidence is directly correlated to, is the work good or is the work poor? Is it incompleted? Is it missing data? So the engineer's confidence is the second stock that I wanted to relate to the intern workload, because it actually drives a lot of the input into the intern workload. If engineers are confident in the interns and their ability to do good work, that high confidence is going to drive more work going to the interns. And this is one of the things that I think is leading to why the intern workload is decreasing. On the other side, if we focus on the interns and we look at the actual ratio of the work that the interns are getting, if they're getting work that is challenging, meaningful, important, then that work will actually help to increase their morale versus boring or kind of, I'll call them monotonous tasks that the interns may not find a lot of value in. That would decrease their morale. And the importance of morale is really looking at the engagement, right? How motivated are these interns to actually do the work that is assigned to them? So this, I believe, this system stock diagram is actually a more holistic view of what is going on relative to the intern workload. And I'll talk about that in the next slide. When we look at that system stock diagram, when we look at the areas that we should probably consider, there are some interesting things that we can discuss. One of the ones that I think is really important is this idea of reactive scheduling versus proactive scheduling. In this model, engineers are really driving tasks down to the interns, and in my observation, this is done on a task-by-task basis rather than doing a bit more of a project planning activity. I think this is important because we really want to give interns more tasks and vary the type of tasks that they're getting so that we get that higher morale. My conclusion in this presentation, in this analysis, is really that the confidence of the engineers and the morale of the interns, those are basically reactive to, or those are influencing the overall work that we're doing, right? If the engineers aren't confident in the interns, then the interns will not get good tasks. They'll not get things that they really want to grow and learn from, and then overall that's just going to degrade their ability to produce because they're going to be less engaged. This engagement, if you look at it, a lot of people would blame it on the interns, but I think it's important to consider that the engagement lies with the leadership and the engineers. So in looking at how to fix this problem, there's something to be said for the engineers taking stock of the tasks and the work that they're assigned to their interns and looking at how to better grow them. So that's all I have for this presentation today. Thank you for listening.